Bases dropped on Soccer's morning show. It's Tuesday Thoughts. It is you. It is me. It is all of us. Let's go through the traffic for the week once again for those who missed. And we got plenty to talk about this morning. We've got the rest of the week in Major League Soccer, anything left over from Atlanta United that you want to talk about. We've got Champions League with no Neymar. We've got CONCACAF Champions League tonight. So that might be a bit of a QOD. So we'll keep an eye on that. But here's your traffic. So today, normal show. Then tomorrow and Thursday and Friday morning, Ricky, it is from Macon, Georgia, because of the basketball championship. So I will be there, and this will be there. So we'll be doing the show from there in the morning. And then the second the show's over at 11:05, I have to get in the car and drive to the Macon Coliseum. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday should have Dylan Butler talking about Major League Soccer. Should have Bart Keeler also in hour number 2 talking about refereeing. And we might get into that this morning as well with Jarrett and the life of an AR and the goal flags and all that kind of stuff. We can get into that this morning if you want. So that is Wednesday. Thursday, Willie P. Style, Will Pelagic will be joining us, the voice of Charlotte FC, part of the booth there with Jessica Charman. So Jess was on Atlanta Soccer tonight. You can catch that conversation on the Woodwork section in the podcast windows at 92.9 The Game. So Jason has Jess. I've got Will. That's Thursday morning at 10. Then Friday, normal. It is the sprint around the league. It will be 9 o'clock normal, Beyond Goals at 9:30. Should be Michael Parker, so we can talk about that video where he's standing on top of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 10 o'clock weekend whip around and probably getting a visit from Jason to talk about Atlanta United and Charlotte. So we've got all that. Morning, Tom. So that's all the stuff that is going on from a logistical standpoint this week. Like I said, nothing changes, just the location. And we got stuff to talk about with Women's World Cup this morning. And it's a story that I didn't notice. And so once again, we will continue with Tone Deaf down here in discussing that. Story, remember yesterday we got into Saudi 2030 and what they look like, they meaning the Saudi government and the Crown Prince, what they're trying to establish. Interesting stuff out of San Francisco that we'll dial back into over the weekend, where we always thought about separations and, oh, no, the PIF is separate from Saudi Arabia. I feel like I need a Ticonderoga number 2. Not so fast, my friend. So we'll get into that this morning as well. Anything else on your mind, obviously? Morning Hutch. And we got programming to talk about tonight. Soccer Down Here game of the week. It is Campbell and Osborne. It's just one match. And so that'll be up at 8 o'clock, I believe. Let me double check my times with Jason on the call. And I want to ask Jarrett if he's going to make it there tonight, considering just how tough that rivalry is and the fact that we are going to have Osborne on the air. It is the second leg of the Battle of Windy Hill. Campbell and Osborne tonight. So, once again, Campbell and Osborne tonight, the Battle of Windy Hill. So that'll be on the network. So keep an eye on that. Set your notifications. You can get ready to listen to that this week. Let's see. Okay, so Hutch, keep us posted on the vote in Oklahoma. I'm glad that you're watching from the Central Time Zone. Keeping an eye on that. And speaking of our friends on the high school round, soccer is in session Wednesday nights at 7. That's released on the network. We had our friends from Perry High School on last week in the in-session interviews, and Coach Nathan Dooley decided to add this to the stacks. right here. You see that? Perry Soccer, our town. And I know that a lot of you sit there and say, man, keep that right there. Keep that shirt in front of your face. It's a better view. So we have that to add to the stacks. And also the way that things are with marketing. We know how things are with marketing. Scarf to add. Scarf to add to Office HD. Perry Soccer. If I could expand it, I probably will. Okay, so that's more garnet, so I don't think that'll pick up. Well, it might pick up. So let's just go ahead and show you. Perry Panthers. There it is. So Perry Panthers. Well, it's Panthers on one side, Perry Soccer on the other. So very, very cool that our friends in Middle Georgia have reached out this way. So these will be treasured and added to the office. Very, very cool from our friends at Perry. So once again, thanks to Coach Dooley and everybody at Perry, who is in the middle of their season, off to a fantastic start. That was last week. That was part of last week's in-session interviews, and so that was very, very cool. Once again, from our friends at Perry Soccer. So once again, if there's anything going on in high school, it's at Soccer's in Session. Wednesdays at 7, we're chasing after folks like Harris County and their fantastic start. Brooks County has a good start down in Single A, down in South Georgia. So as a tie-in and as a partner to our Game of the Week programming, Soccer's in Session with the in-session interviews. Jason takes you through all the results, all the rankings. We have the in-session interviews to let you know what's going on. So that is that is your early morning. That's your early morning traffic so far this morning. And and Coco, I mean, it's been very, very cool that and no, Hutch, I'm absolutely morning Modiflow. Hello. Coco had friends from Perry when you were at Southern. They have soccer and a scarf. Yeah, and the thing is that what you see in the smaller classifications is that sometimes the head coach for one is the head coach for both. And in Coach Dooley's case, he's the coach for both, and he's also the bus driver. So he's the one that gets everybody from point A to point B on a daily basis, and they've had a fantastic start there in soccer in Perry High School there in Middle Georgia. And no, Hutch, I'm right there with you. Very, very cool very, very cool scarf. And like I said, we will find a place for it here in Office HD in short order, so you'll be able to see it. Maybe it goes right here off my right shoulder, just as an idea. Modiflow, we're going to be talking about the PIF coming up in just a little bit with Newcastle. So, yes, Central Time Zone viewers, hello. So, Coco and Hutch, glad that you guys are hanging out with us from the Central Time Zone. I know that a couple of things this week. Hopefully, we will see MLS Next Pro, their schedule. We'll find out what's going on. I know that Will and everybody. You did. No, I said good morning, Tom. I said absolutely. I said good morning, Tom. Absolutely blew through it. No, we are not. We have not been discussing Tony Kroos and his one-man war on Alex Pacine. No, we have not done that. So please elaborate for everybody in the Twitch pitch, Modiflow, if you would be so kind. Yes. So Hutch knows what it's all about in the smaller classifications. Principal is the coach, bus driver, science, and history teacher. So that is absolutely square. But yeah, so the high school scene, we picked that up. And that Wednesday nights at 7, game of the week tonight, Campbell and Osborne. And it's very, very close to Jared Smith and his DNA. So it's we're going to keep it. Jared pops in this morning. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about DNA. All right. Yesterday, we were discussing a lot of stuff, and some of it had to do with Saudi 2030. And since it's fresh in my mind from the end of yesterday's show, PIF is going to buy Real Madrid and see a polo collar. Yeah, so a polo collar. Yes. Yesterday, we talked a lot about the PIF. There's nothing wrong with polo collars, Tony Cruz. Absolutely nothing wrong with the polo collars. Nothing is wrong with that. I mean, I'll wear them. I mean, I have numerous jerseys that have the polo collars. I actually like it because it gives you something to pop when you're running down. Of course, me and running, no, it doesn't happen. But yesterday we were talking about the PIF and Saudi 2030, and keep an eye on Saudi 2030 as they chase after the World Cup for their country as a part of their rebranding or branding initiative. And so yesterday, in the Telegraph, came to the fore that, and I know this will surprise you, this was Sam Wallace at the Telegraph, that you have Newcastle and the PIF and how the nation states leave the government regulators toothless. Recent revelations from the legal case involving LIV suggest the Newcastle chair, Yasser Al-Rumayyan, is part of the Saudi state. Beat 2, 3, 4, color me shocked. So, Sam Wallace, startling was the adjective that he used. Startling news from San Francisco, where according to court documents, it turns out Newcastle United chair Yasser Al-Rumayyan is absolutely not divisible from the state of Saudi Arabia and should be considered part of it at all times. That was the position adopted by legal counsel for the PIF-backed breakaway LIV competition in their dispute with the PGA. So you have Newcastle's PIF, which is absolutely, this is Sam Wallace. So Newcastle's PIF ownership, which is absolutely divisible from the Saudi state. How do we know? Because PIF lawyers told the Premier League so in legally binding assurances that are fast becoming some of the most talked about legally binding assurances in English football history. Will we see replica legally binding assurances on sale in the Newcastle club shop, or the originals afforded their own cabinet in the National Football Museum? Too early to say, but the legally binding agreements are currently engaged in some serious heavy lifting. Paragraph. Instead, yeah, I know exactly, Ricky. Who could have seen this coming? Instead, consider for a moment the position as outlined by the U.S. lawyers for Al-Rumayyan. Neither he nor PIF were, according to documents, quote, ordinary third parties subject to basic discovery relevant standards, end quote. And yes, I was using air quotes for those of you who are watching on Twitch. They, quote, cannot be compelled to provide testimony and documents, end quote, unless pertaining to the most serious part of the case. The parties agree that PIF is a foreign state within the meaning of the U.S. Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. PIF, therefore, presumptively has immunity in U.S. courts, end quote. Wallace continues. It does not sound like an entity that's committed to subjecting itself to the scrutiny of the sovereign government in which its assets are located, which brought Wallace back to the white paper on reforming governance of British football that's supposed to do that. Wallace says one might say the PIF question is the first tough fixture for this rookie manager regulator. At the very least, an interesting test of credentials before it becomes law in some form. But also remember, sidebar, that the white paper probably isn't going to take effect for at least another season and a half. Keep an eye on that. Yet looking through the proposals, it's hard to find anything that could do the job. Fresh requirements to seek out a club's, quote, ultimate beneficial owner, end quote, which already exists in the current test. Also for a regulator to determine whether the individual in question is a, quote, politically exposed person, a PEP. As government minister serving an absolute monarchy, one would have to say that Al-Rumayyan, according to Wallace, is in the running for PEP status as defined by the Financial Conduct Authority. Although the white paper goes on to say that suitability to be an owner would not be judged on the basis of being a politically exposed person. The message is obvious. There's no way that government regulation can reach into the ownership of clubs owned by nation-state entities as easily as it can clubs with more conventional ownerships. As the case in San Francisco suggests, there are immunities that PIF believes it can call upon under U.S. law, and why not British law too? That might also be the case for a Qatari ownership of Manchester United. However delicately constructed the separation between state and individual, so too Abu Dhabi and Manchester City. As the Premier League has learned with its investigation into City's financial arrangements, it's been obliged to fight in the High Court for the right to apply its own rules. City deny all charges brought by the Premier League. Problem with the government's quest to regulate footballs, it's clearly been demonstrated within a week of the paper's publication. It can only ever regulate part of it. Nation-state-owned clubs are the clubs owned by individuals with surprisingly close connections to the ruling powers of nation-states are beyond its reach. The danger is obvious that those without the shelter of sovereign immunity will be held to much higher levels of transparency than others. Football moves so swiftly that already one wonders how a government regulator plays catch-up. Amanda Stavely, remember Amanda Stavely and her interest, a British national with a small stake in Newcastle, wondered aloud this week whether her club might also pursue a multi-club structure. What do you think about that, Alex? Newcastle is a multi-club. CFG's already pioneered that. 12 clubs, which either CFG owns or outright has a stake. How does a new regulator cope with that? No mention in the white paper of how government might regulate an English club at the heart of a global multi-club system. Tendency of the proposals is to look at the past rather than the future. Recent situations at Chelsea and Derby have highlighted how many clubs are just one shock, a geopolitical shift, a failed gamble for promotion, or a disinterested benefactor away from a crisis. Mention Roman Abramovich. Walls concludes by, instead of rewriting history, might be more instructive to try to project how the nation-state takeover of clubs will look 20 years from now. So there you go. So it looks like government might end up regulating some, but not all of football. So there's your Saudi 2030 update-ish kind of a thing. But once again, just keep an eye on Saudi 2030 and what the Saudis are aiming to do. They are going to lobby hard for the notion of wanting to host the 2030 World Competition. Much like their friends in Qatar, they can sit there and say, we are the spoke in the wheel to three continents. We are already that unifier. We are already that unifying factor. See what happens as we go. And I think we're probably, a year away from figuring out what's going on with the 2030 and hosting. So we'll see what's up. And then the other element that yesterday, we were talking about tone deaf down here. And this was something that slipped by me, so I apologize for bringing it up now. But I just noticed it. We were mentioning about Australia and New Zealand and how it looks like the Visit Saudi alleged possible probable sponsorship across the board as the title sponsor for the tourism arm of Saudi Arabia would be the title sponsor for Australia, New Zealand, and you would have a travel entity promoting itself above the two nations that are hosting the tournament that are trying to turn themselves into a travel destination. So, of course, in tone deaf down here, FIFA decided to appoint supermodel Adriana Lima as an official fan ambassador ahead of said tournament. Folks are saying that the appointment was tone deaf and unnecessary. Gianni Infantino said Lima lives and breathes football and would be an excellent link between the sporting body and fans worldwide. Lima describes herself as a football fan, but appears to have had no official involvement in the sport before now, according to our friends at The Guardian and Henry Below. Moya Dodd, former vice captain of Australia's women's team, who once led FIFA's task force on the women's game, questions the message it sends to female athletes who want to be treated as equal to men. And after she tweeted questioning whether Lima's appointment was appropriate, she elaborated, raising concerns about Lima saying she starved herself for 9 days before fashion shows and other things. Quote, what will this ambassador represent to the large and growing population of aspirational women football players and fans who love the game because it shows us what empowerment and equity can look like? Because when a girl plays football, the world sees her differently. Instead of being complimented on her nice looks and her pretty dress, valued for her game-saving tackles and brilliant goal scoring. Admired for what she can do rather than how she looks. Putting her on a more equal footing with her brothers in a way that can alter the whole trajectory of her life's ambitions. Women's Sport Australia, the peak body for gender equality campaigners in the sport, said the Lima appointment was unnecessary and FIFA should have highlighted athletes playing at the tournament. It's a big, giant Duh. But once again, we're talking FIFA. Quote, "It's definitely a different approach to the men's game," said Women's Sport Australia President Jen Dorman. "You would see Cristiano Ronaldo as the poster boy of the Men's World Cup, so why do we need a supermodel when we could choose Megan Rapinoe or Sam Kerr or someone who has international accolades in the sport we're actually promoting? It's the type of role model that should be at the front of this campaign." Benita Murciatis, former head of corporate affairs at Football Australia, said the decision highlighted FIFA's values. Quote, "FIFA's engagement of Ms. Lima as their global fan ambassador demonstrates just how out of touch FIFA is with football's fan base and just how much FIFA hasn't changed. While Ms. Lima might be a welcome choice for some fans, she is nonetheless irrelevant to others, and particularly in the context of the Women's World Cup to be hosted in Australia and New Zealand later this year." A social media account claiming to represent former Matildas players asked FIFA whether Lima would be paid more than players at the Women's World Cup. Infantino, quote, "When you get to meet Adriana, you feel right away her warmth, kindness, and how approachable and passionate she is about our game. She lives and breathes football. That's also why she can be an excellent link between FIFA and fans worldwide." Yeah. Welcome to Tone Deaf Down here. Hutch, and I guess we should sit there and say that so that's our opening kickoff. Tone Deafness Down here is our opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. Don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15 for all of your purchases at Kickoff Coffee. You get 15% off of your purchases each and every time. And they, in turn, take 10% reinvested into the youth game. Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There you go. There's your opening kickoff. See, now Hutch had the question. Hutch has the question of the day. Here's your QOD. Which continental competition are we looking most forward to today? As I jumble the question. And this is kind of what we're talking about. It'll be a consistent thread today. CCL, Champions League, CAF group stage, CONMEBOL Sudamericana playoffs to reach the group. We'll be talking, obviously, about the other tournaments with juice boxes and such. But we've got Champions League to talk about today. We've got CONCACAF Champions League to talk about today. Now, my question is, kind of off of what Hutch is discussing here, are you interested in Champions League? Because the way that the grid works, the way that our programming grid works, and I may just go ahead and skip to viewing habits just to let everybody know what's going on so you can keep an eye. Literally from about, noon until midnight. You're talking a solid 12-hour day of watching what's on TV. So here you go. And you have your metric crap ton of stuff, so it's pretty decent. CBS at 3, big CBS, is showing Chelsea Borussia Dortmund. FS1 has Champions League, Violette and Austin at 6, Alianza Philadelphia at 8. FS2 adds Tigres and Orlando City at 10. 2 to NA, Champions League, Chelsea Borussia Dortmund at 3, plus the 3 CONCACAF matches, 6, 8, and 10. So literally until midnight, you could be watching soccer. Unimas has your simulcasted Champions League. ESPN Plus has League One action. We mentioned Derby County. Plymouth Argyle and Derby at 3. The FA Youth Cup at 2. Paramount Plus has Conference League, Lazio and AZ Alkmaar at 12:45. Champions League, Benfica and Club Brugge at 3. Chelsea Borussia Dortmund at 3. VIX and VIX Plus have Benfica and Club Brugge at 3 o'clock. So literally from, say, 12:45 until midnight, you can be watching what's going on. Very, very busy day. Very, very busy day. Yeah, I know. It is an extra treat. Purple Team and Tigres at 9 Central Time. But like I said, 12:45 or noon with your pregame shows all the way to midnight. You have a 12-hour day of soccer. 12-hour day of soccer. That's what you're hunting for here. Running through what everybody has in mind. Coco, CCL for you, but UCL is also pretty spicy. But that's the thing, Coco. You can start your day with Champions League, and you can work your way through CONCACAF Champions League. And I know a lot of folks are looking at Graham Potter, trying to figure out, okay, if Potter loses, is he gone? Modiflow is all CONMEBOL all the time. That has never changed. Michael Head, Champions League. Hutch, Champions League. Can't wait to see Chelsea or Dortmund fall apart. CCL if the games are close after 60. So Hutch, obviously for you, CONCACAF Champions League will be on in the room. You're doing other things, but you're paying attention, especially if it's after 60 minutes. Modiflow, CONMEBOL, injected into his veins. It's a drug. UCL is an extra treat. See, but the thing is, and for Ricky, it's all choice D, all the above. Like I said, you can sit here and it's not even an extra treat, but we'll take it. We'll take it your way Modiflow. Champions League, I guess, is like a big lunch. Because I'm not going to say appetizer leading into CONCACAF Champions League. It's its own meal. Champions League is a very big lunch. That is a big lunch for folks. And you look at how things are laid out today with your juice boxes. First African Champions League group stage started earlier in the second half of the first game. So today, Benfica, Bruges, Chelsea, and Dortmund. Benfica, big favorite, no surprise, at home. This is just for the match. Benfica, big favorite against Bruges at a minus 270. Club Bruges is at north of plus 725, 735. Chelsea, favored at home at a minus 130. Draws almost a plus 300. It's changing and it's dropping as we're talking about it. Dortmund is a plus 350 on this one on the road. Your talking points. Is this, and right now, Dortmund leading 1-0 in the aggregate. As you're staring at Graham Potter, he vows to look into everything. 3-7-6, I believe, if that's correct. With the win, 3 straight clean sheets, January, February. Remember, what the owners want, they're thinking long term. Of course, they also dropped north of 300 million pounds in the January transfer window. And hey, Graham Potter, you figure it out. 11 points off of fourth right now. Chelsea, best hope for qualifying in Champions League would have to be to win the competition. Chelsea's got to improve on their poor record when they fall behind. Potter's sides have lost their last 9 matches. 9. 5-4. 9 when they've conceded first. You can look at the team whose confidence is drained in these kinds of situations. When they win a goal down in the second half and that loss to Spurs, you could just tell. Other side, you look at, you got Bayern Munich and PSG. We got news that Neymar is out. And this isn't one of those things where you sit there and admittedly, in the past, here on the network, we have sat there and said, "Oh, when's Carnival? When is Carnival? And when does Neymar get injured so he can take some time off?" Then all of a sudden on social media, sit there and you see a picture of him partying. This is different. This is actually legit. Legit. He is injured, and he is out 3 to 4 months. How does that affect PSG? Does it affect PSG? It obviously puts more on the shoulders of Kylian Mbappe to produce. We'll get into that matchup tomorrow. When you're also looking at Chelsea, Borussia Dortmund, you'll get Jamie Bino Gittins. 18. Spent time in the Chelsea Academy before opting to join Reading. England call-ups at the youth level. Borussia Dortmund for Bino Gittins, summer of 2020. having shown at the U19 level, fully fledged member of the senior squad. Third in the Bundesliga on shots at just under 4 a match. First in shots on target at just north of 2. Second in the Bundesliga, open play goals scored, about 2/3 of a goal per match. So 3, so it would be 2 goals in every 3 matches. Fifth in successful dribbles at north of 3 per match. Third with fouls won with 3 as well. So that's what you're having to chase if you're Chelsea. And that is a tall order in and of itself. Shoulder injury stalled his progress first half of the season. 3 goals and an assist in 417 minutes of Bundesliga action so far. Yes, that is true, Modifil. Everyone has spent time at the Chelsea Academy, except for me. I can't shoot with my right foot. Top in the division for shots per target in 90 minutes. Second for goals in open play. Comparing him already to Jadon Sancho. Sancho joined Manchester United for £73 million after the arrival. So that's what you're looking at there. You've got Spurs and AC Milan. That's tomorrow. You got Scotty Too Hottie, who is down 2-0 to Benfica in the other one. Scott Parker has only won 2 of his 11 matches in charge at Club Brugge. Still looks very stylish, though. In 10 months, we could have, if things do not go well for Scott Parker, you could have a second sacking of Scott Parker in less than a year. Less than a year ago, Bournemouth gets back to the Prem, sacked at Bournemouth after an awful start, and now he's this close to getting sacked at Club Brugge. Quoting Belgium's Het Laatste Nieuws, after losing to Oostende, who is trying to stave off relegation on their own, translated, quote, he must now conclude that he is not the right man in the right place. 11 matches, 2 wins, 6 draws, 3 losses, -4 in goal difference. Win rate of 182. Basically, if you're 2 for 11 in Major League Baseball, you're batting 182 right now. All competitions. Scott Parker is batting 182. If he loses today, or if he doesn't get a result today, period, he'll be batting 167. That ain't good. That's below the Mendoza line all the way through it. Oh, yeah, and Sam, they absolutely get paid. They absolutely get paid. Unless there's something in the contract that says, while I'm dinged up, I don't get paid. No, they get paid. Absolutely, they get paid. So let's recap Scott Parker here a little bit. Loses 9-0 to Liverpool in August. And that's where a lot of that minus is in goal difference. I mean, when Bournemouth loses, they lose big. When Forest loses, they lose big. And that's where those large deficits are that kill you when it comes to goal difference in the Premier League. 4 games into the Premier League season, he loses 9-0 to Liverpool, and they send him packing. 11 matches in again, he's only won twice. Meaning Bruges, have either won or finished second in all of the last 8 years. They were already 12 points off of the leaders Genk when Parker arrived, and now the gap is 19. You get another poor showing today, even though losing to Oostende probably should have done it for you. Ties already as good as over. Bruges lost 2-0 in the home leg. They've got to go on the road and just basically try to YOLO their way into a result. Is the dressing room still behind him? So we'll see. Doubtful, though. So it looks like Scotty Too Hottie might be out the door again in short order for anyone that is paying attention to Club Brugge. A lot of you are looking at African Champions League. Alex, I know, Sam. Yeah, Neymar heard fake gasp, but this is a real gasp. His ankle his ankle is just a mess and a half, and he's out 3 to 4 months. This is legit. And if it's not, then I've been fooled. But no, this is legit. So, Alex, back to our discussion about Newcastle. Typed and then deleted a rant on PIF and Newcastle and how a morally upright person such as myself is digesting it. Ask me about it in person if you want to hear the take. So I'm guessing we need to bring Newcastle Ale to this discussion with you, Alex, when we're talking about the PIF in Newcastle down here. Ricky's discovered he's got BN Sports Extra as part of as one of your Samsung TV channels. You're watching CAF. I guess maybe I should watch CAF this morning or have that off to the left. Morning, Abby. We've been talking about a lot of things. We got Champions League today. We've got CONCACAF Champions League today. And it's like pretty much whatever's on folks' minds because there is a lot going on today when it comes to competitions that are spanning multiple countries. North and Central America, you go to CONCACAF Champions League. 3 matches today. Once again, we mentioned 6, 8, and 10. Austin FC. I mean, if you're Austin FC and you have the 1 match at 10 o'clock tomorrow with Olympia and Atlas. If you're Austin FC and you're going to Violette. No, we haven't taken it. We haven't had the discussion about offside. I was waiting for Jarrett, Abby. So that might be part and parcel to hour number 2, the part about offside. I was waiting for Jarrett to see if Jarrett would come in this morning because I want to have the discussion. But we will have the discussion. We will have the discussion about offside as we go. So that is definitely a topic that we are going to discuss. But CONCACAF Champions League at 6 o'clock. Austin, large favorite, no surprise. It's their first match. How do they respond? New territory for Austin FC. How do they respond? Our friends at Alianza hosting Philadelphia. The Union are only a -103 heading to Alianza. Traditionally tough place to play. Alianza probably packing it in. And so Philadelphia with their 4-4-2 diamond driving people crazy. We'll see if Jim Curtin's on his best behavior, stalking the sidelines. And we will see what Philadelphia can do at Alianza. And then the purple team at Tigres. Tigres is a decided favorite. They're -227. I think that it's going to be a tall order for Oscar Pereja on the purple team. Right now, they're north of +625 to get a result tonight. Draws a +330. So we're looking at that. And then tomorrow, Olympia and Atlas. You've got Atlas at a +106 on the road. Olympia at home is a +243. Yeah. Violette. Let me get my CONCACAF preview because I want to get this correct, Michael. I think Violette AC based in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And so it is I'm trying to see the last time that Violette might have played. I mean, they were the Caribbean champs, and that's how they got in. Let's see. And they are in the Ligue Haitienne primary football competition. So I'm trying to get the info on Violette AC. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's their first ever match in, let's see. And they're playing it in the Dominican Republic, first and foremost. So Violette does not get a home match in Haiti. They're playing it in the Dominican Republic. They won the Caribbean Club Championship as the best team from the Caribbean, defeating Cibao from the DR. 5th appearance in the tournament. First appearance since 94. Won Champions Cup in 84. A lot of Haitian nationals. Stevenson Judy is who the player is that you're looking at for Violette. Best young player in the tournament for CONCACAF Challenge Cup. Scored twice in the win over Waterhouse, who we've seen in the tournament as well. So Violette is playing away from home. They're playing at Cibao, by the way. And it is, you want to talk tall order? You want to talk a tall order, Caribbean Club champs, and you're not playing at home. So that's what you're staring at. Violette AC and Austin. So we'll keep an eye on that. So it's going to be, now you know why they're like, here, the juice boxes, by the way, were a minus 1667. And that's basically a number that's put up in the composite just because they couldn't think of anything else to do. Legitimately couldn't think of anything else to do. We know they're a big underdog, so here's what we're going to do. We're just going to put a massive number up there and see what happens. So that's what's going on. All right. You're looking at Open Cup. So Open Cup is 21st through 23rd. We've had some really early stuff. We do not know who Atlanta United is playing yet because they've got to get second round stuff done. And it will be a cakewalk. Absolutely, it will be a cakewalk. It should. Well, let's put it this way, Michael. It should be a cakewalk. Absolutely should be a cakewalk. And that was why I was curious. I was curious and wondering what happens. First time in CONCACAF Champions League. You're in the Dominican Republic. You're playing at Estadio Cibao, and you're going up against a team that hadn't played in a while, won a club championship. How do you respond? That is the question. How do you respond? So that's what you're staring at. All right. I know that you guys wanted to talk about the offside. So let's talk about the offside here. And Alex, you probably are going to be getting early rounds at the fraction. So we'll see what happens there. The offside, where if you ask Juanjo Purata on his Twitter account, he says he was onside. All right. I'm going to go ahead and turn the spigot on and sit there and go ahead. Let me know what's on your mind, because I want to get all of your thoughts in the queue so we can have the conversation to address it. My thought on it is, if the call was made and the flag goes up, then, literally the confidence is there, and then you can look at it. But I don't think there was enough of an angle, enough evidence to sit there and possibly overturn it. Because once again, if you take it for review, Bobby Dodd might be too small, Sam, if you're looking for Open Cup there. Just it's too tight, and then Georgia Tech would have to sit there and say, yeah, come on in, and then you configure it for soccer and those kinds of things. It would be Mercedes-Benz or the fraction. The way that I would look at it is, and I'm looking at it from the review position. If the angles aren't there, morning, Will, where you can sit there and do like we do in the Premier League, you sit there and you draw your lines, you draw your x-axes and things like that, and you sit there and stare at it. It's like, okay, do you have Will, we're talking about the offside that was called on Juanjo Purata on the goal that was scored by Yakamakis that would have given Atlanta United the lead and possibly a win. But it was called offside on Purata and didn't happen, so you end up with a 1-1 draw. I'm looking at it this way. Flag goes up. AR is confident in the call. If you don't have the technology to sit there and have a slap, and this is probably where I'm going to get into TV production down here. And I know that folks want to focus on this too. So this might get into TV production down here. No, Michael, nothing's going to change. But like I said, this is almost like where we get it, where we talk about it and it's done, and then we can. So then we can move forward. If you don't have enough cameras, and like I said, this might be a very short conversation. From my perspective, if you don't have enough cameras in the building, and you're not in a position to get a definitive angle, then you're kind of there. Yeah, and this is another part of what should be done, aside from having enough cameras and enough technology. I'd love for Hawkeye to be installed in some manner, way, shape, or form. You know how they like grid tennis courts and things like that, and they have the gridded technology. It is expensive, and you'd have to do it for every venue, and you'd have to work it out that way. What I would also like to see, and I guess this is taking what we're staring at and going larger picture here, which is also a part of the discussion that I like to have here in the mornings, is that if you don't have enough cameras where you can make a definitive decision and sit there and go to review and go, okay, yeah, well, if you go upstairs with review, it's inconclusive anyway, because if you don't have an angle, then you can't say clear and obvious and flip it. And yeah, Michael, we can talk about the match all you want to, because that's what we're here for as well. If you don't have enough technology available to you, where you don't have a camera at the 10 and at the 10-yard line, say on a football configuration, then there needs to be either more cameras from a TV production standpoint to have those slashes available for you, the ones that are the 45-degree angles that are higher up, not the ones that you traditionally see, the ones that are right there at the 50, and you have the two at the 50 that follow the action like we normally see, and then some maybe at the 30s and so on and so forth. But the slashes, the ones that are the 45-degree angles up high that are close to the end zones, whether we're talking football or soccer. If you don't have enough of those cameras and you don't have enough of sight lines and things like that, cameras above at the 18 and the 6 and things like that, then if you can bring in the gridded technology in each of the venues, great. But at the same time, what I would also like to see is I would like to see goal line technology at each and every venue. I mean, literally, I'd love to see it right there. Each goal has the goal line cam installed for every home match, so you don't have these kinds of arguments of did the ball go over, did the ball not go over. Are you going to? I mean, the Premier League has it with where you get the buzz from upstairs, and when they go and look at it for review, and then you have the goal line technology there, and you get the graphic, and you see the ball that's either fully over the end, fully over the goal line or not. I'd like to have some kind of technology like that. Have it sponsored to where it's. I mean, because you had the Red Bullseye department store chain sponsoring goal line technology for the marquee TV games. Do that for each and every one of your matches now that you're under a singular umbrella for the most part when it comes to your on-air product. I would like to sit here and say that we need to have goal line technology in some manner, way, shape, or form. If it's Hawkeye, if it's goal line cam, whatever, have it sponsored. Yes, it's expensive, but have it sponsored by some entity and continue to roll its way forward. That's what I'm looking for. So we're not having these discussions about we don't have enough cameras. Was it there? Can you review it? Do we have enough available for us to review? That kind of stuff. Like I said, and I know a lot of my stuff is probably pie in the sky, especially because I'm looking at this like I don't have a budget. I don't have a budget. I want to make the game better. So that's why I'm suggesting these kinds of things, back and forth about, okay, how do we make the game better? So on Monday, in as much as Reaction Monday is what it is, that it's not a consistent talking point of, oh, well, it should have been this. It looks like this. It might look like it because of the TVs that you have on hand and the angles that you have available to you. But was it, in fact, something that could reverse a call? So that's what I'm staring at. I'm looking at this. I have no budget. So if I have no budget personally, but I also have a budget that is limitless to make sure that the calls are correct, I'd love to have the grid. I'd love to have something like Hawkeye. I'd love to have something like your Red Bullseye department store chain goal cam sponsored and have it in every venue. So you're not having these questions on a week in, week out basis. So that's really, Abby, that's the short version of all of this, because of what we have in front of us, because of what we had in front of us, because of what we saw. The evidence presented to us yields that the call had to be the call that was given. You can't just sit there and say, well, it looks like this, it looks like that. There's no definitive proof, and there's no definitive way to get said proof to have that goal happen. Secondarily, with that particular move and with what we saw, I'm just going to go ahead and say it this way. How many of you noticed, and it could have been on replay or what have you, the closing speed of Yorgos Giacomakis on that play, where Giacomakis basically just showed up and hit 0 to 50 in no time flat and was blowing past folks. That kind of first step, second step, and speed around folks is something to pay attention to off the ball when it comes to Giacomakis. How he is blowing around defenders and blowing past defenders, how he did that in 30, 35 minutes, and how that could apply to a full 90 minutes with him out there. I think that there are plenty of opportunities that can be attached to something like that. I think it's going to be really fun to see him adjust to Major League Soccer and have guys to his sides. I mean, think about this with the first and second step that you saw from Giacomakis. First and second step that you saw. Then have that applied with the folks around him. Derek Etienne Jr. off to the left. Andrew Gutman making runs. Thiago Almada, who is insane and insanely talented. Aruju and getting crosses in from Brooks Lennon. That's what you're staring at with someone who has a gigantic first step. Things like that. David, I appreciate your candor. And I'm glad that David has found a way around the asterisks when it comes to our friends here at Twitch. Twitch blocks out some of the weirdest things. It sits there and gives you the asterisks for like losers, words like that. But I give David a lot of credit for working the shift key and coming as close to other symbols and words as possible, because I have two different ways to view the conversations on Twitch on a daily basis. And I get to see what's asterisk, and I get to see what's not. David has found a way around the system to where nothing is asterisked. 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 That's tough. That's a tough one. So, David, congratulations to you. I commend you, sir, on your use of the shift key to get around some of the fail safes that our friends at Twitch have decided to sit there and say. There we go. Yes. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying, Coco. But even because the dollar sign is close enough to an S to where I think it still asterisks it out. All right. So, yeah. So the word losers. Yeah, this is exactly. It's exactly how it gets the parental advisory, Kefsey, because we try to find a way around the dialogues. Oh, and Alex, by the way, Scunthorpe finally has owners. And as someone who is a member of the Iron Trust, and apparently I'm a lifetime member of the Iron Trust, let me see what the National League looks like, because I know that they are in a world of hurt and they could be possibly relegated again. Morning, Four Card. Wrexham is at Dagenham and Redbridge today, by the way, for their match in hand with Notts County. So the lead could be 4. The lead could be 4 in the National League with 46. With 10 to play, you'd have a 4-match lead. And Wrexham, with one less match, has scored the same number of goals that Notts County has. And literally, it's like Wrexham, Notts County, and everybody else. Wrexham, 85 points match in hand over Notts County, 84 points, 36 matches. Woking is third at 65. And then you've got a bunch of folks in a short amount of space. 7 teams separated by 8 points to try to chase after the 4 play-in spots. But Scunthorpe is still in danger of getting relegated to National League, either North or South. I forget which. But 27 points there, 6 points from safety with 11 matches to go. And ever since they got their new owners, they've scored 4 points in their last 5 matches. Win, draw, and 3 losses. So Scunthorpe, by the way, could get relegated again and might just drop off the planet. Torquay is the same way. They've lost 3 of 5. Torquay United a couple of years ago, they were in the League 1, League 2. But, yeah, so that's what we're staring at. Let's see. Well, my PDF certificate for the Iron Trust actually just came as a membership card. It's just a membership card that I have somewhere here in the office. My Swans Trust is around here somewhere. My AFC Wimbledon is right on the other side of the monitor here. Yes, Scunthorpe is the Iron. Yes, absolutely true. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Their hashtag is UTI. I'm not kidding. Up the Iron. UTI hashtag. Up the Iron. Up the Iron. Yes, absolutely true. So, yes, Michael. They are the Iron. Up the Iron. Hashtag UTI. Yeah, no doubt, Tom, especially with what Knott's has been up to financially what they haven't really been up to the last handful of years. There's an article, and you'll have to search for it. It's in The Athletic about how Notts County completely fell apart. And that's it was a really cool deep dive. And yes, Coco, the SO in our conversations with SOT, yeah, you do, and you get like a yearly renewal and things like that. And then for Wimbledon, I have my certificate, but they also send you a membership card. So membership card was sent once to become a lifetime member at Scunthorpe, so that's been taken care of. You've got AFC Wimbledon here. Swansea's a PDF. Pompey is just basically it's a renewal. Then I think you can download a PDF if you want. Yes. Yes, it was long before Office HD became Burofax Central. It is way too busy now, as you can tell by the room. And Chelsea played him. Chelsea played. Yeah, Chelsea played Scunthorpe in the FA Cup. It was probably like 32-0, right? But yeah, UTI. Hashtag UTI, up the iron. That's Scunthorpe. We cleared the hour mark, so that means one thing. We get to test the music levels. And so I'm going to sit here and put it at 12, take it out of loop, let you know what's going on with our friends at Eliminize, because they're the ones who are over my shoulder. Man, that just sounds too low. It just really does. All right, get out your pens. Time to gauge your read. Free clean, fresh air. One place you need to go. It's Lemonize Service. Deodorizing enclosed spaces like houses, apartments, and condos, they've created a customized solution that eliminizes all organic odors, including those like pet cigarettes and food. Realtors and property managers use a Lemonize service to eliminate bad odors to help them sell or rent their homes that much faster. It's a turnkey process. We like that. Makes it easy to work with said realtors and property managers. Kind of the environment, we like that too. Offering a green way to get rid of odors without any kind of toxic residue whatsoever. Different than Febreze or our other masking agent friends that we have either under the sink or above us in the cupboard, because when we reach under the sink or above us in the cupboard, bring out that masking agent, spray it in the air. There's a reason they call it a masking agent, because it masks the odor. It does not attack the problem all the way down to the molecule like our friends at Lemonize do with their proven scientific formula. Pricing very, very easy, either by the cubic foot or parts per million, to come up with a price that's affordable for you, offering results in 24 hours or less. If you have any questions, frequently asked or otherwise, about a Lemonize service, go to the website. This is where I grab my pen. For those of you who are watching on Twitch, the QR code is over my left shoulder. Go to the website, eliminize.com, but do us a favor. Go /Atlanta after the .com so they know what part of the world that you are addressing them from, so they can help you with your issues. Full homework assignment, eliminize.com /Atlanta, eliminize.com /Atlanta for odor-free, clean, fresh air. Eliminize Service, proud sponsors of Everything SDH on a Tuesday. Now, that was the beeping that I heard at 2 o'clock this morning. I'm going to figure out where that is. It might be the thermostat. You get weird beeps in your house and you think that it's a fire, like your smoke alarm is finally crapping out on you. Then the boss tells you that you don't have, that it's not that, it's something else. So there you go. So I heard that beep. And how many of you these days have caller ID on your cell phone? So you can sit there and see, who it is that's actually calling you. You'll know that it comes from a particular location. You get the location right because they obviously will sit there and it's like, all right, from Dover, Delaware, from obscure town here. Or even better, you'll get a phone call from your local area code and it will have the same prefix that you have, just a different 4 numbers at the end. And that might be my sump pump in my crawl space, Alex, because it sounds like it's over here by the air conditioning unit. How many of you folks still get these crank calls from folks and you sit there and you go, okay, that's fantastic. I don't know who you are. I'm not answering the phone. I've blocked more numbers in the last month now that I've added caller ID, where it sits there like after the fact. Your provider tells you who it is and where it's from, and you can sit there and Abby, I've still got a landline too. I legitimately have. See, now, Coco, that's unique. That is unique. Coco's gotten a spam call from your phone number to your phone. That is profoundly unique. I've never had that. And I don't answer, and Tom, I'm with you. I don't answer any call that I don't know ever. Absolutely not. I laugh at them because of the obscurity of the area code. I don't ever pick it up, and then I block it. And so, I mean, it's and Abby, no, yeah, you're always 39. We know this, but I have a landline because of my mother-in-law. We still have a landline here in Office HD because of my mother-in-law. And my mother-in-law, God bless her, she wants to call the home phone. Most of the time we get pharmacy, prescription renewals, crank calls, political calls, or the mother-in-law. But it's because of that last one is why we still have the landline here at Office HD. And exactly right. And Abby, you're square. You're absolutely square. Don't answer the ones I don't know, and if they don't leave a message, it isn't important. That is absolutely correct. And Coco, square. All Georgia numbers that call me now are spam. Since you're living in Louisiana, don't answer any Georgia number you don't have already saved. Gotaga, exactly. But yeah, so and the reason that I brought this up heading into hour number 2 is because as I turned my phone on and just kind of stare at it, I got another phone call from a phone number that I do not recognize. Yep, Dover, Delaware, right there. Don't care. Right here. It's a 302 area code number. Don't know it. Not answering. So you'll get blocked as soon as the show is over. But no, that's why I wanted to ask, because literally Amelia, we'll get into that in just a second. But literally, I look at these numbers now and I'm just like, okay, look, I don't know you. You ain't answering. And the thing is, when I do get a message, it's the same message from the same female voice saying, call me at this number, area code, blah, 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 or the number that just popped up on your phone. I should be here all day. So call me when you have a chance. It's the same message I get from the same fake female voice. It might be a real person, but it's the same female voice faking a relationship with me. And I swear to God, I get this phone call 4 times a day. I would love. Yeah, and Sam, I haven't gotten Philippines, but I do have an aunt that lives in Norway. So if anything's from Norway, I will pick up the phone. I haven't gotten Philippines or Bulgaria. I would love independently. And like I said, I don't know if you guys get this message or not. But there is, like I said, there's this one female voice that leaves the same message, and it comes at me 4 times a day from different phone numbers and different area codes. Independent of this, if one of you gets this same message, and literally it's like, and the message starts in mid-deal. You can call me at this number or at the number that just popped up on your phone. I should be here all day and catch up with you soon. And they hang up. That's the message. Independent of any of us that would get dragged down into this mire and muck of this telemarketer, whomever she represents, I would love to know who she represents. So then I could call the Better Business Bureau and go, I'm being harassed. Literally, it's the same voice from 4 different phone numbers every single stinking day. So if you guys, and I mean this in the loving sense of the collective of the Twitch pitch, if any of you get this message and wants to pursue who this is, I'd love to be the new Luda with different women and different area codes. Ricky, I appreciate that. If any of you want to go down this rabbit hole and go, here's the deal with this business. I want to find out what this business is and report them to the Better Business Bureau for consistent telemarketers. And the fact that it's the same message, you'd like to think it's my hour 2 rant 4 card. This is what's going on. During the promo read to lead us into hour number 2, I got a phone call from a telemarketer in Dover, Delaware. And I wasn't going to pick up the phone. But we got into the whole thing about landlines and telemarketers and answering the phone or not answering the phone and blocking numbers. And to recap, I'm getting the same message from like 4 different area codes from this one message all day. And so I am hoping that someone wants to go down that rabbit hole if they get the same message as I do and find out what this business is so we can report them to the Better Business Bureau. Because these 4 calls a day, I said just call you a 4 card. I'm getting the same message. I want to find out what it is, but I don't want to get dragged into the rabbit hole of, oh, sure, but now that you've called us back, you're obviously interested in our product when I'm really not. So that's where I am with this. And I'm imagining, well, I mean, Sam, if they are, we'll get into this. If they are checking on my car's extended warranty, I'm cool. But I wish they would tell me. Give me your business name. Tell me what you want so I can report you to the Better Business Bureau for harassing me on my phone. Tom wants to know how the boss feels about this. I mean, I'm sure the boss gets the same kind. I mean, the boss doesn't get the same kind of saturation from these calls that I do. She doesn't get the same kind of saturation I do. She still gets them. Probably not to the frequency that I get them. And I don't know why I'm the one that's so blessed with all of this. But yeah, I'm the one that gets what I should do. Unofficial poll. I will do this for like a week, and you'll have to remind me to do it. For a week, I will sit here and figure out how many times this particular group calls me in a week. And I should take notes on the different area codes. I should take notes on this. But I don't want to call them back because then they drag you in. It's like, oh, you've called us back. So therefore we'll start the cycle all over again. Will I get, instead of home mortgage warranty letters, I get credit card stuff. Hey, sign up for our credit card. Here's our rate. And I'm like, well, no, I'm good. File 13, tear it in half, throw it away. That's the one I get the most. Either that or window replacement. I get window replacement things. And the window replacement folks, have gone to the next level. And what they do is they will write up something on a single-page document that looks like an invoice. And I mean, literally, it's a single sheet of paper. It's not quite glossed over, but it looks like an invoice. And you sit there and you have to do a double take for it. And you go, you're invoicing me for a window repair? And then you sit there, it's like, oh yeah, I didn't ask for window repair. But yeah, literally the window replacement and the window repair folks, they've gone next level. They make fake invoices out or fake bills, and they sit there and it's like, okay, yeah, for $650, we're doing this, and this. So the window replacement and window repair. Let me take a drink. Window replacement, and not like car window, but like windows on your house. Because, Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace. We know about them. But the window replacement folks, like the ones in your front, your kitchen windows, those kinds of things. They go to the point now where they're writing up actual invoices, and it just makes it look like an invoice. Yeah, so here's your charge. And so all you have to do is call it and activate it. Yeah, okay, we sent you the invoice. It's going to be different. So literally that's where it is. Will, sometimes if I'm really annoyed, I'll return the envelopes, but they're empty. See, that's good. It's like return to sender. That's the other thing. And this is totally on me. I get something every month, and I'm trying to track the charge, and I can't find the charge. And so this particular group has really done well in hiding what they're charging me. And I've got to figure out. I've really got to do a better deep dive and figure out. Okay, who are you, and what are you charging me? It was something that I wanted that I no longer want, so I have to figure out how to eradicate the subscription. So they've done really well. Hutch. Most of the bills, I'm wondering if I have most of the bills in my name compared to the boss. Actually, frankly, I do a lot of my bills these days, and it's just automatic debit. I'm putting a lot of trust in computers. Um, these days, for me, it is automatic debit for a lot of my stuff. It is very rare. It's like emails and automatic debits. That's how I am these days. A lot of my other bills are not. I mean, I'm saying most of my bills are. Very few of my bills these days are like actual bills that you get in the mail. But yeah, most of my stuff is automatic debit because it offers you a discount if you set it up this way. It's like a 5 or a 10% discount over the length of the plan if you do an automatic debit. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. So I started doing that a lot more than normal. So yeah, Abby with the phone, just keep blocking. That's what I'm trying to do. Sam, I swear if I had someone to care for me like these people care for my car's extended warranty, I'd be taken care of for life. Right there with you. I'm already under a warranty. I'm good. Thank you. So, Tom, to Sam, are there really that many people buying these that keep these people in business? Apparently so. Or the overhead to produce all of them is very, very low anyway. And so it's easy to do. See, now I'm not alone in this. I'm not alone in this. Thank you, Michael. Michael gets the same fake window replacement invoice. Thank you. Very cheesy. I mean, I give him credit for thinking next level, but yeah, I really, that for me, that's yeah. I mean, there's got to be a way for him to stay in business, though. So I mean, it's weird to see all of this, to see all these things, all these people that care for us so much that that they actually want to make sure that we are okay. It's very, very humbling. Things to keep an eye out for this week. Once again, remember, in theory, we have MLS Next Pro schedule supposed to come out this week. And we are efforting. Hey, I get another one. As we go, and I think and what I'm going to do, because I don't know this number, I'm just going to flash it for those of you on Twitch so you can keep an eye on it right here. That number, I don't know who you are, but I'm not interested. So I'm just going to let it go. And I'll block you later. But you vibrate on a glass table and it makes a loud noise. So, yeah, that's what we're getting here. And you just hung up. So, missed call, not a contact. What a surprise. Yeah, not a surprise. All right. So, polos don't belong on kits. I'm recapping. Now that we've gone and talked about all of the stuff that happens on our phones and our bills and things. And thank you for indulging me. I guess that's hour number 2's kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Polos don't belong on kits. All right. So, Ricky, I like it because it's different. And I know it's just like I said, and it's not a full collar. You can't pop the whole thing. It's just a little floppy collar. So, I mean, and I guess because I'm 700 years old, I kind of like things like that. My Leicester jersey, morning, Knicks. My Leicester jersey has the floppy collar, the polo collar on the kit. Hutch. Okay, not on athletic wear. Yeah, Ricky, I want to feel totally business casual, running and sweating. I get that. Yes, Michael. Yes, Saudi branding. Yes, sports washing. Well, and the thing is that there's sports washing and now there's greenwashing because you have that apparently is the competition involving Manchester United, where you have the Crown Prince on one side and Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos on the other side. And Ineos has not been known for their environmental stewardship as being the best in the world. So sports washing and greenwashing is the term apparently that's being associated with Ineos. So you've got that with those two. Ricky, Benzema has your heart, but Kroos swept you off your feet with that one. Yep. Ricky, I get what the Saudis are trying to do. It's just not going to work. Saudi Arabia being known for oil and human rights issues is going to be a forever thing. Sports and entertainment and travel isn't going to be their main identifier in any of our lifetimes. WWE, Spanish Super Cup, Ronaldo buying sports teams will not absolve them. No, but it will distract. It will distract in the public sphere. Because as we look at teams, as we look at teams and clubs, if you're a fan of a club, and your club, and Alex, I apologize for this, but it is the most recent example that I can come up with, and it seems apropos. And I know that you, Alex, have pulled aside your thoughts on the matter and posted something very, very clean to the Twitch pitch, which we appreciate. But yes, we also know what your actual thoughts are on the matter. But there are fans who go to matches at Newcastle on a weekly basis and are enjoying the fact that right now in the Premier League, Newcastle is chasing after European football. Right now, I believe they are in the Europa Conference League spot, right now at number 6. When it comes to this kind of stuff, you will have fans who just are looking at the results on their favorite field of play, most likely soccer. And they will not look at the dossier of the owners that currently are managing the rejuvenated success of a particular franchise. Sadly, you have a lot of folks at Newcastle who are not looking at the PIF. You have a lot of golf fans worldwide who are not looking at LIV for who they are. Not what they do, but who they are. You have them looking at Newcastle. You have Newcastle fans sit there and say, Eddie Howe's done a great job even though you've lost 2 in a row. You've only given up 17 goals all year. You're in 6th place. You are challenging for European spots. You've had a recent hiccup in form. You've drawn a lot of matches. You've only lost 3. You're in the Europa Conference League spot right now. They're not looking at the owners. They're not looking at the owners. Fans of golf are following their individual stars who are getting paid stupid amounts of money to play a team golf format that is in the ratings in over-the-air television drawing worse than America's Funniest Home Videos on the same network that they're airing on. Saudi Arabia doesn't care. They're getting their name out in the public sphere through sport, and people are being drawn to it. Yes, right now, golf is a loss leader for the Saudis, and they don't care. But you're getting folks to look at LIV, if not domestically here, they're looking at it internationally. But those of us who keep an eye on things, yeah, and Michael, I'm right there with you when it comes to LIV. That is exactly what it is. And you are not wrong. Pretty disgusted at LIV players, pure money grabs, disappointing. I won't follow LIV. Used to regularly follow many of them. And I'm right there with you. I have zero interest in LIV. I have a profound amount of disappointment in the announcers that jumped to broadcast that tour. I imagine it's for the same reason that Michael, your disappointment's there too. From a professional standpoint, I am profoundly disappointed in the individuals that jumped to do something like this. You don't care about what's going on behind the scenes with the owners of these particular products, but you will go and you will spend money on their product. You're going to go to some fancy golf course. You're going to see Dustin Johnson get paid $11 zillion to show up for a week. And I understand his point of view about getting paid an insane amount of money and the amount of work that he's put in. And he feels that at this point of his career, and he's probably not the only one that thinks this, that they, when somebody gives you that much money to do what you do for a living after having toiled in the tours and all that kind of stuff, that you're going to jump at a chance like this and you're going to make a crap ton of money. I would have hoped that his father-in-law would have been one to try to talk to him about it. I don't know to what extent he may or may not have as a professional athlete. But you will continue to see these countries and these entities try to distract, like the Gilbert Gottfried scene in Beverly Hills Cop, where he's talking to Axel Foley. He's got the ticket in his hand and he's got the money in the other. It's like, and you see this ticket here, you see this piece of paper here, and then you see what's here in the other hand, and then it's just like all of a sudden you're more focused on what's going on in the other hand, and you're going, what is this? What is this in my other hand? What is that? What is that over there? That's what they're hoping that you do, whether you're a participant or actively engaged in viewing. So this will continue to happen. The lawsuit that we talked about in the first hour with LIV is interesting. I don't anticipate a whole lot coming from it. But when you have things like this happen, and Twitch Pitch, I doff my cap to you as a collective for seeing what it is. But it won't be the last time that this happens. As long as those envelopes continue to be pushed, you will continue to see these entities try to sit there and have you focus on what's going on in this hand and the piece of paper and that you had to start with. It just kind of disappears and goes away. That's what they hope. So obviously we'll keep an eye on all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Ricky, they're going to take loss leaders. And if they can sit there and go, we're going to drop $8 billion on the WWE. I can guarantee you one individual who will not be going to the crown jewel, and that'll be Sami Zayn. That will be interesting decisions for these athletes. I can guarantee you Sami Zayn will not be a part of it. Sami Zayn will become an instant free agent if the ownership changes with the McMahons. Let's see. No, Michael, you don't want the Saudis, Qataris, Emirates, and the Kuwaitis buying everything. Don't see public opinion changing 180 degrees. We start it one opinion at a time. One opinion at a time and let it build. And we'll see what happens. But I think that awareness is just as important as, and understanding is just as important as knowing that it's there. So, morning, Dawn Star. Good to see you. Like I said, a lot of folks are ready for Champions League today. A lot of folks are ready for CONCACAF Champions League. CONCACAF Champions League, once again, remember, 6, 8, and 10. They have the 2 matches at 3 o'clock in Champions League. Anyone see San Jose's second goal on Saturday? Man City-esque passing. Goal envy. But yeah, Tom, when folks pack it in, it's kind of hard to sit there and try to figure out how we can get stuff squared away. First African Champions League group stage started earlier, second half of the first game, so it was earlier this morning. So this is legit. All right, so Ricky Ricardo discovered you got beIN Sports Extras, one of your built-in Samsung TV channels. If you don't, You can hop on Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps out the show, and you get all of the different networks that you might not have known existed. You get BN, you get all the BN channels. You get for the fans, you get Say, you get Gold TV and Nuestra Tele. There's a lot of them on there that get you into other markets that you may not necessarily have known that broadcast the sport of soccer. So Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Join Fanatis. Jason got me hooked. I blame him. Yeah, and Michael, in regard to Chelsea, so much talent comes up through Chelsea, then moves to success at the highest level. Shameful disregard of talent. Not wrong. I'm going to do something really quick. I want to see just how many folks Chelsea has under contract, and I want to see how many players are out on loan for Chelsea. I want to see how many folks, club, country. So let's see, did they do Great Britain or did they do England? 31 on the senior roster. All right, so England, Premier League, Chelsea. Thanks to our friends at Transfermarkt. I don't want players. I just want to go. Just let me know. I want to see. I want to see what it looks like with all these folks. Okay, so Chelsea here. Total market value, 32 on the squad. Market value of $1.03 billion. So, all right. So Gaga Slonina, loan spell, loan back to the Fire. Let's see. Join. Zakaria on loan. Benfica brought him in. I need an outbound. That's what I need. Okay, so the detailed squad, I think, is what I'm hunting for here. All right, so you've got 31 on the roster, and it's more detailed than I was hunting for. So, no, I need detailed is what I need. All right, so nothing like clicking on stuff. So I've got 30. So Transfermarkt had 32 on the roster. Mendy being injured, so that would be 31. Thiago Silva injured. All right, so here's your current roster for Chelsea. Let me see if I can do it quickly. Keepers. Mendy, Kepa, Slonina, Bettinelli. Signed from Fulham for £2 million. Fofana, Badiashile, Koulibaly, Chalobah, injured Thiago Silva. That's all your center backs. Left back, Cucurella, or is it Cucurella? I've always said Cucurella when he was at Brighton. Cucurella, Chilwell, Lewis Hall. Right back, Reece James, Dave, Conte, Zakaria. That's your defensive midfield. Central midfield, Enzo Fernandez, Kovacic, Conor Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek, Chukwuemeka. Attacking mids, Mason Mount, Kai Havertz. Left wing, Sterling, Mudryk. Right wings, Pulisic, Ziyech, Madueke, and Joao Felix, I believe is how it's now is pronounced, because they had a press conference yesterday. Center forwards, Broha, Aubameyang, and David Datro Fofana. So that's your current roster. I want to know how many are also loaned out in addition to. So that's your current Chelsea squad. Good luck choosing from all of that. So that's So that's your look for Chelsea, and I know that drives Chelsea people crazy, having all of these folks available, and then the manager catching a whole bunch of ish because it's like, oh, you didn't choose the right 11. I've got 32. I've got 32 players here. 32 players. So that's what Graham Potter or whomever the manager is going to be is. That's what you're staring at. Let's see. Coco. Fears for the amount of boxes I'll need for Office HD alone if I ever move. Well, I've had to shift to a larger storage container, locker. I got it on special. But yeah, I had to move into a larger storage locker because it was A, it was closer to home. B, it was a deal when I got it. And C, there's a lot of stuff here that had to be moved, packed, and shipped into a larger space. So we're actually kind of gaining space, believe it or not, with the new. Well, but Michael, with the phone numbers, yeah, they did that on purpose. And we are talking about them, but I don't know who they are. So we're talking about marketing to an entity that we don't know who they are. That's what we're staring at here when these phone numbers pop up on my phone that I really excuse me, that I really have the intention. I'm debating staring having it to let everybody know what the number is, and we'll go from there. You know, it's like I'd love to know what you're marketing, but I don't know what you're marketing. So by the fact that you call me and you leave a message, or when you leave a message, you don't let me know what you're marketing. That's bad marketing. So that's bad marketing on your part by not telling me what you're marketing. So I blame the folks that call for improper marketing and all of that. So yeah. So, just because you call me and you've got a number that I don't want to call back, or you leave a message and you don't tell me what it's about, you've created a marketing black hole for yourself. Um, so Sam, yeah, and I know you're not saying. I know that you're saying you're not in favor of it, but they got to tell me what they're marketing, though. That's part of it. Let's look at Joseph's numbers, since there is an interest on the floor of wondering about Joseph's numbers so far from Sam. So let me go. And the discussion basically was that he's still a couple of weeks away from being at full song. So that's what you're looking at with Joseph there. So okay, there's your roster. I would actually like to have some statistics, or I would actually like to have the website respond in a timely fashion so I could give you statistics. Okay, roster operations, great, fine, fantastic, good for you. All right, stats. Let's see who gets there faster. I've got two websites going simultaneously. So let's see what happens first, and how do they list it? Okay, there. All right, so here's what you got. So far, 2 matches, 2 starts, 143 minutes. Pass percentage at 72%. 2 shots. As I sit here and trying to interpret live on the air. 2 fouls, 5 fouls committed, 2 fouls suffered. So he's at a +3 in that regard. So no points on the board, 143 minutes, and a couple of shots, and he's had more fouls called on him than shots. So there you go. So no points on the board for him so far. So that's the answer to your question, Sam. So 143 minutes, no points, 5 fouls called on him, 2 fouls that were worked. So, yeah, so there's your. All right, so Tom, yes, and I anticipate that this will happen. That Gigi will have more goals than Joseph. That's just my gut. But yeah, Coco, that was fantastic. That you got a spam call to your phone from your phone. That was brilliant. But then they still didn't tell you what was going on. Emilio, about landlines. Oldest one here dropped landline 10 years ago and cut cable 4. How did that happen? Need, basically. That's basically how it goes. I've kept cable and I've got a bunch of streaming services because of everything that I have to watch. That's why I've got all these different streaming services. But no, Emilio is more hip than I am. Bottom line. Let's see. Coco's got a cable login for your parents use for apps. Very convenient for watching the Braves on Bally for as long as they're still on Bally. So we'll see what happens there. Let's see. Once again, thanks for everybody who's hanging out in the Twitch pitch this morning, by the way. Abby, so far out of warranty with a 15-year-old car, 320,000 miles. I just passed my 3-year. Was it 3? 2. I think it was 2. 2 with the Beast. And, you know, like on the social media app where you get all your flashbacks and things. It was a very rainy day in February where you're sitting there and you're staring at a car being put on a flatbed. 367,000 miles. Will, the way they stay in business, take your money and run without providing any service. True. Absolutely true. Wonder if blocking makes a difference. I read that there are automated phone number generators or such. And I think that, Michael, to your point there, I think a lot of that is what we end up with, especially when you get the prefix, like the same prefix of your phone calling you. That, to me, that just seems automatically generated. So I am right there with you on that. Talking about LIV and more and the Saudis. Poulter earned like less than $50 million in his career. Jumped to LIV because of his family. How much money do you need? That's a good question. CCL, Coco, where did we say it was? Okay, so it is on FS1 and FS2. So FS1 has it listed that they're doing the 6 and the 8, and the purple team and Tigres are on FS2 at 10. So it looks like it's on FS1 and FS2. I think you're okay. That's where a lot of stuff is locked in. Abby's got a good question. Probably later in the year, maybe? Do a Twitch pitch gathering? I like that idea. And it is definitely the Island of Misfit Toys, Michael, but that's the fun part. Yeah, not sure what Boyle's trying to do other than prove how to waste millions. See, but that's the thing, Hutch. I don't want to call them back because then they know they've got you. I think if the message is important, this is the way that I've always. This is the way that I've always handled things. If you call me and you don't leave a message, and Abby mentioned this earlier in the Twitch pitch, that if you call and you don't leave a message, then obviously it wasn't that important. But in the case of all these spammers and scammers, you know, they want you to call them back. That's kind of the point. But no, if it's not important enough for you to leave a message to tell me what's going on, or in the case of that one automated with the female voice that says, I should be here all day, call me at the number that just popped up or call me at this number. Why are you calling me? What's on the board for you? Why are you calling me this morning? Yes, absolutely. Why are you calling me? Well, I mean, this is, I mean, I think that if you expand it, Hutch, Soccer's Morning Show and Help for John's Technological Problems. I think it's more for all of our technological problems. I'm not the only one that has technological problems, but I think Soccer's Morning Show and John's Help for John's Technological Problems. Yes, that the long title, like the second line, Soccer's Morning Show and Help for John's Technological Problems. That's your second line. But the thing is that it's not all just me. It's not all just me. And Tom, you know, I'm right there with you. I obsess. I mean, I think there's a curiosity. There is a line between curiosity and obsession. But you know, just early on, because when they said that he's probably a month away from being full song, I want to see how he integrates. And considering what happened here, I want to see how he integrates on the field and off. Well, and Hutch, yeah, when I bought the car, and this is when we went from the Beast to the Murano, that was the interesting part of all of it. So literally, and I know this will surprise all of you, I had conversations with my mechanic who kept the Beast alive longer than probably it should. And I hung on to it for obvious reasons. the car that I bought, we wanted to have a larger car here at the house. We had 2 sedans. And so we wanted to have a larger car for making errands, going to the beach, those kinds of things. And so I got a Nissan Murano, and my mechanic literally waved his hands in the air, was like, dude, you don't want to get that car. And the dealership that I got it from, when I got the Murano, did not tell me, and once again, I bought it as is, and so this is on me, that it had issues and issues and issues. And so I literally ended up with spending just as much money to keep the Murano alive as I did in purchasing the Murano. It lasted less than a year. And so then I picked up, so it's 2 years that I've been without the beast. So then we shopped again and picked up the Subaru that I currently have. And once again, it's a Forester, so it's pretty big, and so it serves the purpose for what we wanted to do with a second car. Like you go to the beach, you want to pack a lot of stuff. You're going on vacation for a week. You're driving. You want to pack a lot of things. You want to go to the grocery store, and you want to have the big trunk, that kind of stuff. But the Nissan Murano that I picked up was almost 10 years old. Didn't have a whole lot of miles on it, but it was just outside the warranty for the original miles. And it had issues, and oh my God, it had issues. It was awful. It was an awful car. And every time I'm on the road these days, when I see a Nissan Murano, I curse it. I curse it. Happy with the Subaru that we have. We went through Carvana, and it was actually pretty easy. So, no, 3 years, because because we bought it last year. Yeah, we bought it in 22. So I've had it for a little over a year. So 3 years ago was the beast. Had a Murano. It sucked. Dealer sold it to me as is, didn't tell me all the problems, probably didn't investigate the problems, didn't want to care. They just wanted the money. And offline, I will tell you what dealership it is. It is not in this state, mind you, but it is a different automobile whatsoever than the Subaru. And the boss and I absolutely love what we're seeing from the Subaru so far. Okay. So, Alex, if you see a white 23 Civic hatchback with the Newcastle and Atlanta United decals on the back window, say hello. So Alex has a new Civic. So we know Civics. Emilio's Altima has more trunk space than your Forester. Voicemail. Back to the whole voicemail thing. I think it is a turbo Forester, Emilio, if I remember correctly. I have to look on the back. I know it's got the 4-wheel drive and the 2-wheel drive and all those other fancy things. Back to voicemail messages. And Tom, the voicemail message literally used to say, if I didn't answer, it's because I don't recognize your number and you're most likely a telemarketer. If you have actual business with me, leave a message or send a text. I like that. I like that idea. But it sounds like that voicemail message went like 90 seconds. That sounds like the longest voicemail message ever known to mankind. So shorten. If it was shortened up, leave a message. If I didn't pick up, I don't know you. I mean, I can't be that gruff. I can't be that gruff on a voicemail message. But I understand putting all those options out there, Tom. I truly do understand. Emilio discussing 7 in Miami. I know that there's a group of fans that want him to do well. Just tip your hat to him, and if he does well for them and helps them out, great. You just don't want him to do well twice a year. And we'll probably talk to Bart Keeler about that tomorrow. I'll also talk to Bart. But I blew through it. I mean, it was, Tom, I did say your message in about 10 seconds, but I also just kind of blew through it for the sake of blowing through it, because you want to enunciate. You don't want to sit there and slur. You don't want to sit there and just blow through. I got a lot of words to say in a very short period of time. Leave a message. Beep. I've being the son of an English major, you want to enunciate and get things squared away. Let's see. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo. We haven't gotten into that this morning. And so anything else on your mind before we go in 10 minutes? And obviously, that's the beauty of Soccer's morning show, is that we can go all over the place. And we always end up coming back to the absolute beginning of our conversations about everything we want to watch today. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Manchester United believe they'll sign Harry Kane if the Spurs fail to qualify for Champions League. That's from the three-letter paper. So as we always say, take the information at your own peril. Newcastle targeting Kieran Tierney from Arsenal, who could cost more than £30 million. Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City targeting Josko Vardiol this summer from our friend Fabrizio Romano. PSG forward Lionel Messi says, quote, he's had a hard time adapting in the French capital last season, but the Argentina captain, whose contract runs out in the summer, now feels great. West Ham manager David Moyes is facing growing discontent among his squad over his cautious tactics. With the struggling Hammers 1 point above the Premier League relegation zone, Brentford beat Fulham yesterday, drawing that much closer to the European places. Good for Thomas Frank and good for Brentford. Arsenal confident that they can get a new deal with Reece Nelson. That's the four-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. After he scored the banger that salvaged full points against Bournemouth, I imagine that things might have changed a little bit. That's just me. Gunners also leading the race to sign Napoli's Victor Osimhen, despite interest from Manchester United. Joao Felix has suggested Chelsea failing to qualify for Champions League could impact a decision on his future. Remember, he's on loan from Atletico Madrid. So that'd be one less player to have to worry about, Michael. Adrian Rabiot's contract at Juve runs out in the summer. He says the side qualifying for Champions League is important for his future, from our friends at DAZN. Jude Bellingham update. He rejected a chance to meet Manchester United representatives while at Birmingham City as he did not want to miss training. Aymeric Laporte wants to leave Manchester City this summer, with Barcelona ready to make a move for the 28-year-old Spain defender from our friends at Mundo Deportivo. How are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for Aymeric Laporte, much less anyone that wants to come through your door? How? Please explain this to me, Barcelona. How are you going to afford players? Just checking. Spurs considering a move for Southampton's James Ward-Prowse. I figure if Southampton gets relegated, James Ward-Prowse will be a sought-after commodity. That will be an interesting subplot if Southampton gets relegated. We'll go over the numbers at the bottom, and they are messy. We'll get into that in a bit. Erik ten Hag would like to sign Frenkie de Jong in the summer, but he doesn't want to leave Barcelona, especially with the amount of money they owe him. They could also make another move for Rabiot, who's set to become a free agent. Harry Maguire, among a number of first-team players Manchester United willing to sell this summer. Leeds will rival Burnley for the signature of Ryan Kent when the 26-year-old English winger's contract at Rangers expires at the end of the year. And staff at Manchester United have been assured there should be clarity, in quotation marks, on the club's ownership situation before the end of the year. Yes, because the Shakes Group and the Ratcliffe Group have both been approved for the next stage of operation, whatever that is. Whatever that second stage is, fine, great, okay, you've been approved. And fantastic, Antonio Conte, this is interesting. He admitted that he underestimated the length of time he would need to recover from surgery on his second return welcomes the pressure of facing Milan on Wednesday. He was initially ruled out for just a week after surgery to his gallbladder, but the return was cut short when doctors demanded he stay in Italy and undergo another procedure. Christian Stellini has been in charge of Spurs. Mixed results, 2 Premier League wins, FA Cup exit at the hands of Sheffield United. Conte was back at training Monday ahead of the must-win match in the round of 16. He had not appreciated how long his body would take to recover from the surgery, but he was already embracing the pressure of facing the Italian champs. For sure, quote, I underevaluated the recovery after surgery. I think that for my sense of responsibility, I wanted to come back early. Maybe I overevaluated my body and myself. Now I'm well. I've recovered energy and have to recover weight, but for the rest, my feeling is good. I will try to transfer my energy to my players. It's important for me to work with my players and the staff and prepare for games. Used video to help out with that. He's got a really good staff. Said they did a really good job. Stayed away for 3 weeks. Pressure's normal. We have to live with this type of pressure. Maybe if there's one thing we have to try to improve the environment here, it's to live with the pressure. Sometimes that means to be a bit stressed, not always to be in peace, but to channel it in a positive way. Out of contract, remember, in the summer, Spurs plans after that still to be resolved. Quote, it hasn't changed my mind. This type of situation can happen, and I discovered after the surgery that many of my friends had the same surgery. It was emergency surgery, not planned, and that's very different. First, there was a lot of sad news, but when they told me that I only had surgery for this reason, I was happy because you never know what could happen. Frankly, I still think he doesn't come back. I just don't think he does. Having lost too many friends in a calendar year, I think that he goes home. I think he goes home to recuperate and then waits for the next phone call after giving some time to himself. Did you see this? UEFA is going to refund Liverpool fans for the 2022 Champions League final tickets after the organizational failures in Paris. UEFA will refund all Liverpool's fans' tickets after a review found that a catalog of organizational failures, quote, almost led to a disaster outside the Stade de France. This is from our friends at Sky. The refund scheme, and that's what it's just their wording is scheme as opposed to, how we would phrase it over here. It is not meant, their use of the word scheme is different than our use of the word scheme in England. Covers all of the Liverpool allocation, 19,618 tickets, with supporters receiving the full cost of their ticket back from European football's governing body. Prices ranging from $59.40 to $585.70. Liverpool were involved in the process that led to this decision, having influence on discussions from the start. Refund comes after their fans were indiscriminately sprayed with tear gas, leading to crushes around the stadium before the match. Initially blamed by UEFA and the French government for causing disturbances. Both later rode back on the claims, with a UEFA Commission report later praising their conduct and saying the organizational failures from the two governing bodies could have had catastrophic consequences. Yeah, no joke. But here's a refund of your money. Thanks. We're going to refund your ticket money. Good work for you. That's awfully thoughtful and caring. It's like we had a catastrophic failure of an organizational scale, but here's your refund of your tickets. Other paper stuff, avoiding the 3 and the 4 letter paper, once again, before we go. Once again, remembering we talked about Newcastle plotting a move for Arsenal. Regular role at the Emirates has been taken by Alexander Zinchenko. Luke Shaw says Manchester United have become complacent since their Carabao Cup final win. Says they have to work hard to ensure the 7-0 thrashing at Liverpool doesn't derail their season. Nottingham Forest making an official complaint to the PGMOL after growing increasingly frustrated with poor refereeing standards this season. Jens Scheuer's shock departure as manager of Brighton Women came amid growing concerns about his forthright management style. The Mirror, it was the takeover stuff that we mentioned there, avoiding the 4-letter paper. Daily Express, Manchester United players had reportedly spoken about the prospect of making a dramatic late fight for the Premier League title in their WhatsApp group before losing 7-0. Liverpool, once again, remember opening talks with Josko Vardiol. Bernd Leno says he holds no bitterness towards Arsenal after they sold him to Fulham last summer, backing his former side to win the Premier League title at the Evening Standard. We mentioned Victor Osimhen from our friends at The Athletic. Daily Star, Wilfried Zaha likely to stay in London with either Arsenal or Chelsea next season, despite the impending Crystal Palace free agent having interest from Al Nassr. Chelsea youngster Ben Elliott has switched international allegiance to Cameroon from England after being convinced to join the Lions by Samuel Eto'o. Villa will be up without Boubacar Kamara for at least a month with the ankle injury he sustained against Crystal Palace on Saturday. Scottish Sun, Aberdeen will this week step up their search for a new manager. Chris Wilder's back in the frame. Dwight York reiterated his desire to become the next Aberdeen manager, claimed the Dons need him. Michael Beale has hit back at claims Rangers Chiefs took their eye off the ball after winning the league with Stevie G. And St. Mirren have offered a new deal to Curtis Main that will put him up with the club's highest earners. Once again, reminder, it is CONCACAF Champions League 6, 8, and 10, depending on if you watch on FS1 and FS2. You've got your matchups in Champions League at 3 o'clock. Chelsea, Borussia Dortmund, and can Scotty Tuhati keep his job with Club Bruges? And that's against Benfica, and that's on Paramount Plus at 3. Europa Conference League, Lazio and AZ Alkmaar. That is at 12:45. So let's see what other stuff is going on, if there's anything today. Europa League playoffs are Thursday, so there's nothing in Europa. Europa Conference League just has the one matchup today with Lazio and AZ Alkmaar. Lazio's a minus 152, AZ Alkmaar with Georgi Mihailovic north of plus 450 on the day. All the other action for Europa Conference League. The 7 matches left on the board are on Thursday. So we'll keep an eye on that. So busy day on the TV, busy day Champions League, busy day with CONCACAF Champions League. You can start watching at 12:45. You won't have anything keeping you from not watching anything until about midnight. So it's going to be a very, very busy day. So let me check and see what else is on your mind before we go. Once again, tonight on the network. It is Osborne and Campbell. Boys game coming up, just the one match tonight. It's the back end of the rivalry in Cobb County. Jason will be there. I'm hoping Jarrett will be there too, just to give you an idea about what it means to Osborne to be on the SDH network. So Campbell and Osborne tonight on the network. Keep an eye out for your time. And also keep an eye out for Soccer's in Session, Wednesday night at 7. Jason goes over everything in the state of Georgia. We also have your in-session interview brought to us by our friends at Kaiser Permanente Thrive. Once again, thanks to our friends at Perry Panthers, dropping by the T-shirt and the scarf that will be added to the stacks here in Office HD. Probably going to go right here. As the newest one to hang out right off the right shoulder. So you got all that action today. Once again, I will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in Macon doing the morning show as we get ready for the high school championships tomorrow, anticipating both Dylan Butler and Bart Keeler. Bart will be on to talk about officiating and obviously anything else that goes on in his mind, but just how difficult it is to be an official in today's day and age with all of the rules in place and fans wanting things that they may not necessarily get because of technology or a lack of technology involved. So we'll get into that. Well, Pelagic joining us on Thursday to discuss Atlanta United and Charlotte from Willie P's perspective and rock and roll from there. So Will is in Huntsville. So as we get ready for MLS Next Pro this week, if you see a blue 16 Silverado with a Hunt City magnet, that is him. So we'll keep an eye on that. So, and Abby, go Osborne. So once again, guys, thanks for hanging out with us for another go-around. It's fun when we get to talk about stuff, but it's also fun when we kind of get to go off the rails a little bit. And that's why we're Soccer's Morning Show, because we are all over the place. And thank you guys for being a part of it, as you guys always are. Abby, I will be the only one from a talent perspective there. So if you see me, I will wave. The production is being done for the most part up here in Atlanta, like we do the football championships. I will be the conduit in Macon, presenting trophies and doing things like that. So I will be down there. It is on all of the GPB social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and on the app and on the website at gpb.org/sports. But if you want to watch on television, it will be on GPB Knowledge. So it will be on GPB Knowledge. So 0.3s if you have digital tuners, or on your cable in the higher numbers, like in the 240s if you have Xfinity. So best is to just download the app, keep an eye on things on all of your other social media platforms, watch it that way. And so it will be great to be with the basketball championships back on Georgia Public. So it's always going to be fun. So we'll see you in Macon tomorrow, and we will do it again one more time. And Wall Pass Wednesday. So once again, anything is on the table, and kind of like today with Tuesday Thoughts. But as always, thanks for hanging out with us here on the show. And since it is the end of the show, it means I get to do this. Thanks to all of you for hanging out with me today, and we'll be back at it again tomorrow. Much Platiel, played safe. For Jason, for Jarrett, for Nick, I'm just John. We'll catch up soon.